Truck really has some power to it. So this is Arrma's fire team. A lot of us really love driving this RC. It's just the body, well, not everybody was into it. But one thing we know for certain is people like trucks like this Creighton here, desert trucks like the Mojave, and even big stunt trucks like the Outcast. So wouldn't it be cool if they took that awesome fire team platform and just gave us an awesome truck body on top of it? They did. It's here. Big Rock 6S. Doesn't this beast look really cool? The Big Rock isn't a new name to the Arrma series. They've had 10 scale versions of it before, but now this is a 6S powered 7 scale ready to run. And in today's video, we're gonna take a closer look at the body on here. It's got a lot of really cool details and features to it. We'll take a closer look at the chassis, the new electronics in it, and we're gonna take it out bashing. But first up, we need to rip it out of this box. There it is, guys. I've got the red one. It's available in 3 colors, gunmetal, white, and this red, which is absolutely sick. I've taken a couple hours to look over the truck, so I know exactly what to tell you guys. If you appreciate that, do me a favor. If you're an online shopper, use the link in our video description below. It's an affiliate link. It helps us here on the channel and it doesn't cost you any extra. All right, let's talk about the body set. Fun fact, the crew cab body on this truck weighs 2 pounds and almost 7 ounces. It is probably one of the most solid Lexan plastic mixed bodies I have ever seen. This thing is pretty solid. It should take a lot of abuse. Now up front, there is a molded grille. They went and painted the grille lines with a silver, and then these lights here are actually molded plastic, and then they have this lower bumper section. Then there's the cowl, the windshield wipers, skid on the top of the windshield, and then the skid bars on the roof, inserts on the side, door handles, and then these mirrors here actually fold over. So if you do roll the truck, those should hopefully roll over on you, and you can see they've got clear amber lenses in them. It's got running boards. This is a molded bed with roll bar on top that actually goes inside to an inner skeleton. There's actually a lower section to this bed as well. So this is all beefed up. This is not going to cave in on you. They've got the 5th wheel here, and I think it's just to kind of hide these body clips, just a little extra detail. And then they've got clear red lenses out back, and you can put LED lights in this truck. So you can put it in the headlights, you can put it in the taillights. There's even a 3rd brake light up in here. You could add an LED light to that. The rear bumper on here is actually a part of the lower skid plate, but this is just a really solid bumper. And as you saw, it's got the 2 body clips with the tethers, and there's no body clips in the front. It's getting really close to that scale look. That's what we like. I'm totally fine with just the body clips in the rear. And once you remove those, you just pop the body up, slide it forward, and you can see the large tongue that it has that slips into that insert on the shock tower. But look at the inside of this body set, all the plastic just to keep it nice and solid. There's the rear taillight section. There's where you can put the LED lights in the front, and this inner tower structure that goes all the way down to the center support of the truck itself. So this is a heavy duty body. Love the look of that Arrma. And the chassis is going to look really familiar to a lot of you. It's kind of the same as the fire team in the center. There's been a few changes. I've gone over the truck just trying to find, you know, little tweaks that they've done. Obviously the front bumper is a big change. What I really like about the front bumper is look how tall it is here. So the body isn't gonna fold back into it. Then they've got this inner crash support that's gotta take a lot of abuse. So, you know, we won't have wrecked bodies up front. It's not gonna look all mangled, I don't think. But right behind it are the large bore aluminum shocks, black anodized aluminum towers, the pivot ball suspension that we've seen before, dual wishbone setup. The lower arm is capped where the pivot ball goes in, so that doesn't rip out. The massive steering knuckles with aluminum steering plate, adjustable tie rods, sway bars, aluminum pivot plates inside. So this is stuff we've seen. We know it's all bulked up. It even has the EXB upper top plate for the steering bracing, dual belt crank setup with a servo saver in it, large bracing rod, aluminum lower chassis plate, lower H-arms that we've seen before, adjustable upper links, the heavy duty rear hubs, and then again, thick shock tower, long travel shocks in the rear, all black anodized. This thing has a nice stealthy look to it. Back to the chassis plate, large mud guards on the side, composite braces that help brace the front and rear section. Now the one thing that's a little bit different about the chassis layout is the weight distribution. As you can see, the battery is a little bit farther back than we we saw on the fire team. They moved the receiver box. This is a sealed receiver box. They moved that back a little bit as well. But with the heavier body on here, I'm sure that they had to move things around just so it has a nice balanced feel to it. Now, one other thing I wanted to point out within the realm of the chassis is the body mounts. It's a solid mount up front, this insert area, and then on the back, it's got the 2 body clips set up. And this actually compresses a little bit, so it's got some flex so it doesn't break. They even have little foam washers. Now onto the drivetrain. We've seen this drivetrain before from Arrma. It's a triple diff setup, all metal gears on the inside, fluid filled diffs, CVs up front, dog bones in the center, dog bones in the rear. However, when I was looking this over, it does look like they've swapped out the outdrives on this. It has a better outdrive on this truck than it did on the fire team, but everything else from what I could tell looks the same. Onto the electronics, I'll swing this thing around here, and it has a new Spectrum S665 servo. This one looks like it's got a metal center section in it, metal gears, high torque. They even have a 25 tooth metal servo horn. Spectrum firm 150 amp speed controller cat pack on there, massive cooling fan, large heat sink. They've gone to this new gray paint on the top. I like it a little bit better, the orange. It looks kind of stealthy along with the rest of the truck. And it's got EC5 connectors. One of them's jumpered from the factory. This is a sensorless system. They've got a large heat sink on it and then a cooling fan just for added cooling, of course. One thing missing from this truck that makes it different from the fire team is they don't have the rear brake on it, so you can't do those tricks. And to be honest with you, it was kind of cool. I didn't use it a ton after all, but you know, when I did use it, it was a lot of fun. Not needed here on this truck. Now, look at these tires. These are the Ragnarok tires, and these are quite interesting, guys. Definitely like the spoke wheel on it. Looks really heavy duty, 17mm hex on there. But the feel of these tires, they're just odd. It's not a soft rubber, it's almost like a hard plastic rubber. And maybe that's so they don't expand so much when you're driving it. Maybe it's because it's a multi-terrain tire. Really interesting tire rubber compound from them. To control it, they give you the SLT3 radio system, and then they give you a bag of goodies. You got some extra pistons in there, you got your cross wrench, some diff shims, AA batteries, decals, and of course an instruction manual. It's a good looking truck. You guys are excited about this. I know it. I've been getting a lot of messages about it. Now it's time to head out and drive it. All right guys, speed test in the dirt. And here we go. Actually, I'm gonna start off at this end and send it the other way around this pothole, and I'll roll into it. Yeah, oh man, it is moving. I think we hit top speed. I can barely see it anymore. Might need glasses. All right, coming back. I'm rolling into it. It's swaying. Jeez. There we go. Serious brake into the grass. That rear gets a little sideways. All right, let's see. What do we have? Stop. Read. 52 miles an hour right out of the box. Look at that, I got 53 on the second run, nice. Figure, you know what, let's rip around the dirt parking lot for a little bit. Oh, this has got some power. Oh, rocks, ow. That just screamed, it sounds like the fire team. But you know what, those hard tires, I'm not sure. They're definitely not growing, so I like that. However, on this hard packed surface, there's not a lot of traction. So I'm doing a lot of counter steering. And this truck doesn't have AVC. So you're working it to keep this thing straight. Look at that. All right, guys, it's day 3 of testing the Big Rock. First day, I did a little speed test in the dirt lot. Second day, I hit up a construction lot to just bash it and lost the rear wheel. I couldn't find the nut, so now we're on to just jumping this thing. I've got my ramp set up, and we're going off this big hill here. Ready? Let's do this. Oh man, I overcorrected. This doesn't have enough power to pull it out of a nosedive with that pinion gear. All right, guys, couple of things I'm noticing while I'm driving it. One is I think it needs a little bit bigger of a pinion gear on here. Just doesn't seem to have the power to pull it out of a, whoa, ow, 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 ow. Oh, I think we broke it. Let's see, what, looks like I broke a upper front arm. I had some high expectations for the Big Rock 6S. I really love the 3S version of it, its namesake, and then the Arrma Fire Team was an absolute blast to drive, such a cool rig, and this has a similar platform to it. So when I went out there, I was expecting that same fun factor, and I just found this truck to be a bit of a handful. I'm not sure about these tires. When I was blasting through the dirt, going through grass and stuff, the truck was just kind of all over the place, and I think it actually needs some diff oil work as well to get this thing hooked up. So, you know, you got to manage the throttle with this thing right out of the box and do a lot of counter steering actually. And since this radio system doesn't have the AVC in it, you know, you're going to have to work that steering wheel, which for some people, it's a lot of fun. I get it. But I was expecting this thing to handle a bit better. And I know some of the fun of this is obviously jumping it. So I took it out to the construction lot and was kind of just jumping off of the different rock piles and dirt piles and stuff like that. It was getting some pretty good air. It was landing well, but I did land it on the roof an awful lot. And to be honest, I mean, the body set on this thing took a lot of hits, but the thing with this body is it weighs a lot. I actually went and weighed the Fire Team body, and this body weighs 7 ounces more. So I think they've added some weight to this, and that may be throwing off the handling a little bit. I also felt that they needed a bigger pinion gear on this because when I was launching it off the grass hill, which I've launched a bunch of cars off that hill actually, I just didn't have the throttle response to go and correct it, and it would just off nosedive, or I wasn't able to rotate the truck well. So I think it needs to go up a couple teeth on the pinion gear. And I wound up, you know, doing a little bit of damage to the truck. I didn't go out to break it. I went out to, I've been to these places before. I've driven there before, and I drove this truck like I would others, but I wound up bending the chassis a little bit. There is a little bit of a bow, and I went and took the top brace off, and that's bent a little bit as well. And what ended my day ultimately was I broke an upper arm, and I went over to the hobby shop to grab one, and the guy's like, oh yeah, that happens. And then finally I lost a wheel, guys, and I thought that may have been my fault. Maybe I didn't tighten it up that well, but when I went out to do the jumps off the grass hill, the other side loosened up, and I know for sure that I went and cranked down on all 4 wheel nuts before I went out, and it was about a half a battery pack before the arm broke, so the wheel loosened up. I think you need to add some Loctite to the threads on the wheel hexes. So overall, I think it's a good truck. I think you could get a bit more out of it with some tuning. I know the body is definitely really tough on this. It took some serious hits, but it does weigh a lot. So again, I think that just kind of throws off the handling of this truck. The size of it's definitely cool. I like it. It was fun.